After the Munich Security Conference, European Union foreign ministers moved smoothly to Brussels on Monday to discuss the broadest agenda of world governance behind closed doors. In addition to approving anti-Russian sanctions, the 13th in a row, the old world diplomats went through almost all the hotspots of the planet. European ministers said their weighty word on the future interaction with African countries after Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali expelled French colonizers and agreed to establish the alliance of Sahel states and create a collective defense architecture. And they did it without the participation of European officials, because of which they are still very worried. They even brought the question, what should we do next, to the meeting of EU foreign ministers. Having finished with Africa, the EU foreign ministers will launch the EU mission to protect shipping in the Red Sea. Another year-long paper initiative by Brussels is designed to establish an EU naval presence in the area of operation to guarantee freedom of navigation with other entities operating there. The others are American and British. However, the desire of German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock and her team to wave the EU flag off the coast of Yemen to please Washington may cost European countries dearly. Until now, Yemen's Houthis have been gentle with merchant ships from EU countries. But the new European mission will make the old world states complicit in the conflict with the collective consequences of this new status. From the shores of Yemen, EU diplomatic thought has moved to the Middle East, where the participation of EU foreign ministers is also indispensable. At least, that's what they think. And although neither Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority nor Israel had been interested in the opinion of European ministers about the conflict in Gaza before, realizing their complete foreign policy impotence in this matter, the Council of Foreign Ministers of the EU countries is also concerned about this hotspot. It turned out that the situation in the Middle East became one of the main topics at the meeting in Brussels. The foreign ministers discussed the promotion of the idea of two states for two peoples in order to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and some kind of peace conference with the participation of regional countries, the US and the UN, to launch a political dialogue. True, there are serious doubts that the potential participants of this future forum see the European Union as a participant, much less an organizer. But this unfortunate circumstance does not prevent European foreign ministers from puffing up their cheeks about their participation in the Palestinian-Israeli settlement. Yet the main treat for the diplomats gathered in Brussels will be the discussion of the 13th package of anti-Russian sanctions. The EU, suffering from war psychosis, only wants to please Washington, liberal media and non-governmental organizations by adopting a new, this time, completely meaningless package of sanctions, Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó wrote in social network. Another 193 individuals and legal entities are expected to be included in the document. Most of them are from Russia, but sanctions against individuals and organizations from Belarus, China, India, Turkey and DPRK are not excluded. Apparently, Europe has decided that the countries of the Global South will obediently swallow the European restrictions. Politico, citing unnamed European diplomats, tried to soften the situation by announcing that the new sanctions included in the 13th package are mostly symbolic in nature. In addition to the increase in sanctions lists, the list of campaigns that will be banned from exporting dual-use goods will be expanded. Also, the EU countries will be given the opportunity to restrict the movement of Russian diplomats at their own discretion. However, the 13th package will be fundamentally new, as European officials will try to impose sanctions on companies from third countries that do not want to comply with Brussels' instructions to Moscow and continue mutually beneficial trade with Russia. The meeting of EU foreign ministers will not be without Ukraine. This time, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba will be the guest speaker, who will inform the ministers about the situation on the front and military needs of Kiev via video conference. European diplomats will be treated to another session of lies about the situation at the front, a no less entertaining show of begging for money, in which Mr. Kuleba has considerable experience along with other associates of Zelensky. However, those gathered in Brussels will be happy to continue to be deceived, as sweet Ukrainian tales about Kiev's upcoming military successes allow them to put Europe on a military track. Another teller of fairy tales at the meeting in Brussels will be the head of European diplomacy, Josep Borrell, who will make a report on the situation in Belarus on the eve of local and parliamentary elections. However, Borrell himself has not been in Minsk for a long time and is not able to assess anything with his own eyes. But this seemingly insurmountable circumstance does not prevent him from condemning the Belarusian authorities in advance. The cherry on the European diplomatic cake will be the discussion by the EU foreign ministers of the prospects of the first-ever summit on nuclear energy, which will be organized in Brussels on March 21, 2024. However, the largest nuclear power, Russia, which is building nuclear power plants around the world, will not take part in the summit, whereas Ukraine, of course, will be invited. An excellent solution for those who have decided that they rule the world.